Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. XRP is our focus in this video. Great last 24 hours, very happy to see this continuation from about a month or so ago with the increase in the XRP price, especially after the Trump administration shout outs back in November or whenever it was. Some articles have been sort of swiftly coming in left, right and centre over the last 48 hours relating to, of course, that time very much now. Was it next week, this weekend? Well, in a few days' time, 4 or 5 days' time, Trump's inauguration as President of the United States of America for the second term in his career. So, without further ado, let's go straight into that. Don't forget, of course, to smash the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Hit the like button as well. Even if you don't enjoy the content, just smash it because you're here for XRP, right? This helps with the algorithm on a serious note to help reach new audiences, so I massively appreciate it if you do so. We'll go into the proper chart on TradingView shortly, but just here's a quick overview on CoinMarketCap. So according to the data or the metrics at this moment in time, we haven't quite still yet got to the previous all-time high that was registered back in 2018 at $3.84. We are very close. This is the one-day chart. You can see last night I was very excited to see 335. I think earlier today, a few hours ago, we were at 334 after a few drop downs. I actually sold some on the way down. I think it was around 320 something. So I didn't quite hit the top, but I never do that. I tend to just wait for a little drop, etc. Just to see if there's a bit of an average that I can get out. For those that don't know or are new to the channel, I think I was buying like XRP back in 2020, just after the big drop that we saw around the world in March, I think it was. So I was getting them originally, I think, around about sort of 10-12 cents, if I remember correctly, back in that period of time. It was actually one of the first assets that I got into. So the return has been quite good so far. I was able to accumulate quite a lot of XRP back in those days. I haven't really bought any XRP since then, to be honest, other than a few in the bear markets here in 2023 at various prices, really around 30 cents or 40 cents. So still good uptake. Of course, available on a multitude of exchanges and even the big list. There's humongous amounts of them. So it's in a really good position at the moment. Last 24 hours, if you accommodate the fact that it has had a bit of a drop as well in these periods of time, as a good 50% up. So fantastic to see if you're an XRP holder for the long term as well as short term. I'm sure there are many people getting excited still with XRP towards the end of last year and are seeing at least maybe double their returns. So that's really exciting for everyone that's involved or has or is investing in XRP. I think there's a lot more to go in this 2025 run, but let's go into this quickly. So first and foremost, you're probably going to see there's a few narratives. This isn't concrete, but apparently Trump opened a strategic crypto reserve featuring Solana and XRP, New York Post reveals. So what's really interesting about this debanking aspect, this is a huge topic at the moment, or has been for a number of years, really. We've talked about it on the channel so many times. Kind of not necessarily kind of replacing the existing systems, really. The November deadline or project beginning, if you like, for the new RTGS functionality around the world starts in November 2025. We did a video on this 2-3 years ago. Leading up to this time, we knew that 2025 was going to be quite an interesting year for crypto in general anyway, obviously coinciding with presidential aspects, but more importantly was the aspiration of the financial markets moving on to new systems, new structures, new frameworks, which are very heavily powered with AI and blockchain in particular. So all these things are really aligning nicely. I wouldn't say as we predicted, but we certainly aligned our thoughts and theories over these last few years to these moments in time. So I think there's a lot more to come, guys, leading up to that November kind of aspect. And I think what's going to be interesting is people coming into the crypto space where we see all these narratives about AI, meme coins, etc. A lot of people getting wrecked or making money, whatever. But the long term or longevity of crypto and blockchain will always be in projects like Ripple, particularly Solana here. More recent times in the last couple of years when it sort of really took off with its network, its marketing. More and more projects moved from the likes of Polygon and other networks that were obviously very good and still are, but Solana just operated straight away and allowed everything to jump on it. So that's why you see a lot of the memes and the AI is built on it. It's very easy to develop and create on there. Whether or not the projects are legitimate or not, or will withstand the longevity is another question. But irrespective of all that, that's just accumulating the thought patterns as to why this year was going to be such a big one, but also how eventually, in my opinion, money will just come back into these projects like XRP as time goes by anyway. These are ones that are just going to stabilize themselves. They'll become ETFs for sure. They'll be used in pension funds and things like that. So 9 times out of 10 in the next 5-10 years, it won't even be crypto investors or users of crypto that take the advantage of this. It will also be people who have pensions and they go to their bank, or it's already purchased for them, like most pension funds are, and they will tap into these various markets like Bitcoin, Ripple, etc., as they gain more stability, less volatility, and more of a demand of something that's upcoming in terms of technological advancement. In this case, blockchain, albeit been around for a long time now, has only just really started in the last couple of years, that full integration, adoption element to it. So it's really exciting to see this. A few other articles pulling in. Obviously, XRP hits new record high on major exchanges after 7 years. So taking it back to 2018, some will argue that it has hit all-time highs. It depends on what exchanges you're using and data networks you're using, but in general, I think I'm not excited just yet. If we get towards the $4, I think it's going to be incredible. A lot of people have stated, $5 and $10 price points. We'll go into the chart, as I said, in a minute, to look at that again, based on the previous charts and fib levels that we put in the last XRP videos. But yeah, this is fantastic, and it's good news for seeing things like this. It will always drive hysteria. I look at them with a pinch of salt sometimes, because I think a lot of this is sometimes manipulated by crypto market writers, or indeed most companies now purchased or owned by banks and financial institutions tend to put this stuff out. It's no different to Bloomberg when they talk about stocks and things. So it just gives that emphasis. If you're new to crypto and you're jumping and go, oh my God, see this news article, you might not know the actual history or the elements of what this means for crypto. You might just see the article and just jump in anyway. So there's loads of really interesting sort of variables and behavioral patterns that occur when we come to crypto investment. But as I said, depending on the stages you got in XP, I think this is phenomenal to see these kind of results finally after the suppression through the SEC. And I think it was yesterday, correct me if I'm wrong, there was a decision made as to whether they will delay the decisions on the SEC XRP situation. I think they said they might delay it, if I remember correctly. A lot of people took that as positive, in the sense that it's obviously just being delayed for the inevitable that Trump will come in, SEC will reduce its regulations probably on most crypto assets, and allow America to utilize projects like Ripple, who are obviously US based and created in the US, to thrive. That's what they wanted, rather than suppression or the greed of people within governments, etc., suppressing things, probably on purpose, no doubt. We did mention that in videos over the last couple of years as a theory. It will open it up, and it will open up worldwide as well. Of course, XRP isn't just related to the US. This is essentially an infrastructure or protocol that can be built into the frameworks of financial systems worldwide. So really, really exciting stuff, guys. And on that note, let's go into further excitement about these chart moves that we've seen. So the last video I did was more recently, in the last few weeks. I'm going to have to put another a fib level chart in, and I'll tell you why. Because we're almost superseding the last one we did. So what I'm going to be doing is putting one in from this recent high point here and to one of the most recent low points. I'll go for the lowest part down here, is around 45 cents, which was back in July 2024. So I'm going to put that one here, just so we're not getting it too confusing with the last one. So first of all, let's look at this middle one here. And if we zoom in, you can clearly see, if I was to stretch that across, for example, which was taking one of the older high points and lower points here, we can see we're about to, or have tested that 331 mark. Not quite yet pushing that 350-ish boundary, or indeed even if you look at the long-term charts, it's very much hit that one. Can we get to the 380? So for me, I'm going to have 2 sell points from this point onwards. This is if we stabilize in these current areas and fly forwards, or the news continues itself over the next 48 hours or so. We've had a big drive of XRP in a short space of time, so I'm very wary of the fact that we could be over purchasing. People get bored quite quickly if it's not moving, and then they'll get the FOMO in terms of the reduction. Oh, I must sell really quickly. That being said, let's look at the positive aspect of upward trend first and foremost. So we've hit this barrier here on the long term at 329. It's matching up nicely with this fib level tracements here. So a good match up there. Not quite accurate on these ones, but it gives you identifiable areas of interest when looking at the selling positions or where we might get to. So obviously a bit of resistance here. Couldn't quite get up to these 355/376 marks yet. Let's see if that comes in. So I'm definitely putting some sell orders just under that 350 mark, so probably around 347. If that does come in, great. And probably just around 372-ish would be another market for me. Before I start anticipating maybe, just maybe, nearer those $4 or above $4 marks. The conversation we had earlier in the video, people were talking on loads of different videos and loads of comments on multiple channels about that $5, $10 mark. Well, absolutely. It's possible. And in fact, just putting that new infrastructure in based on the recent lows and highs, there is an argument to say that we could see a maximum outward projection of around $10, $11. There's a lot to happen in between that. So we just already mentioned that on one of the previous long terms and the mid-range for us to get to these points. But it's definitely feasible. And if it continues the way it is with the Trump situation, with the notion around 2025 in general, with the financial systems, more and more people getting around that narrative at the right times, I don't see it a problem mentioning, I like to be conservative, but I generally think that $5 as a minimum is more than appropriate for this year, or maybe into next year. We'll see. Depends on how the cycle works this year. It's very different to previous, albeit it's following a fairly similar pattern in terms of its aggression when it comes to narratives and pinpointing certain technological advancements that it relates to. So I think that's definitely achievable. Then we're really looking at these higher ones. But I'm not going to talk about this until we get nearer the point of $6, $7, because then we will put the intricate detail that we see in the chart fib levels here. I'll be putting that up here, and we'll see the breakdown of the little milestone achievements that we need to do at incremental stages to get to that point. On the way down, guys, let's talk about that as well, because we have seen this in the last 48 hours also. We've seen the upward trend. We've also seen 2 or 3 mini corrections in that time as well. So if you're thinking, well, my projection in the future is $10, $20, $50, whatever, even $2 or $3 still sounds very legitimate as an entry point. But it really just depends on your targets, your thoughts, and opinions on all that. I'm going on the basis of the fact that I was buying XRP at these silly low prices of around 12, 13 cents or around these markers. So I'm naturally going to be excited about these current stages because I've seen great progression and great return, and still a load left in the tank to accommodate these higher amounts as well, because obviously I need less XRP to sell at these higher stages to make the revenues or profits that I am at these current stages by using more XRP. So on the way down, we want to be looking potentially at a retake of around that $3 mark and potentially at the 242. At this moment in time, because of the bull runs that we're having at this moment, it might be quite difficult to see that in the short term. There might be something that we see over the next 2-3 months before we see a regurgitation in the market, maybe around April time. So there could be maybe a 1 or 2 month gap where we do retest the $3, where we do potentially retest back at the lower regions of $2, and we need that stability like we saw here for us to push up. Prime evidence here, stability, sideways trading. We retested around $2, we came back up to 250, going backwards and forwards. Cool, we're ready to go. News hits conveniently at this right time, and up we go. So I'd be surprised if we come as low as $2 in these coming weeks. It might, as I said, over the next couple of months, we'll have to see. But those are the areas of interest if you're wanting to get into XRP. One of the difficulties is not financial advice, just from personal experience. Jumping in right now because of the excitement is almost a crazy thing to do. You could argue the RSIs on the left-hand side here around 76, suggesting that there's still a bit more uptake that could be had, for sure. But how far forward can that go? Because you will see resistance at these particular areas. Is that jump from let's say you're entering right now, is that jump from 326 to 412 really that interesting? Not sure. It really depends on how much capital you're putting in at that time. So it's all in context, guys. You must remember that. But performance indicators on the right side are suggesting that XRP is having obviously a phenomenal last 6-12 months overall. I think there's definitely a lot more to come. Let us know in the comments below what you think. We'll catch up in the next XRP video. Thanks for watching. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and we'll keep our eyes on this. I'll do some YouTube shorts if anything miraculous happens in the next 24-48 hours, and obviously leading up to the Trump administration kick in. Guys, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Let's go XRP.